And we're finally here on the red bench.
On the red bench, yes.
Because red is your?
Is one of my favorite colors.
That's why we chose this bench.
Yeah.
As some of you maybe know, this is also a red bench that belongs to the Kunstmuseum area here in The Hague, where we at. It's actually also a bit like the thumbnail of this podcast. So I shot it, but never sat on it. So this is the first time we sit on the red bench. But thanks for the invitation today. Hello everyone, I'm Robin. I'm host of the Good Place podcast series, which is the podcast and conversations with people like yourself on the public bench about life and the place you live in. And I'm welcomed here by Eva. And we connected through one of the photography communities here in The Hague. And you responded and showed immediate excitement about wanting to share your story in this channel on a public bench. So thanks for your enthusiasm. And I like the fact that I don't know you that well. So it's also a way to get to know each other and to share your story with the world. So first of all, Eva, why are you so excited and so enthusiastic about sharing your story?
Thanks for asking, Robin. I've always been curious. I've just been a really curious person, I guess also, from childhood. And at some point that translated into me, telling stories, but also listening to other people's stories. And so I just feel that whatever story we have ourselves, like usually that's a good way to connect to other people.
Right.
And that's kind of the motivation behind it.
And what do you do on a daily basis? Is that your job as well, to share stories?
Yes and no. Sometimes a little bit more explicit. So sometimes it's quite obvious that the storytelling or the sharing is a part, but I think stories are a little bit like the glue. Now it's like social glue. It's when you meet someone and they look different or they speak a different language, then they seem very foreign and other. But if we can find a way to perceive their story or share our story with them, then we can find like some shared humanness in it.
Yeah, common ground.
Right. And I find that in whether it's in my work or even waving over to you when you were recording the other day in the other park.
I was busted the other day, yeah?
I busted you.
I was recording some videos. And suddenly somebody was waving. There's a wasp right. You'll get stung. No? You're not afraid of wasps. Okay,
No.
good. She's in harmony with nature. I would run away. But Eva, tell us a bit more about you, who you are, as a short introduction to what should people know about you?
Okay. Well, if and when I'm on stage, usually one of the first things I will say is that I'm a storyteller, which is really,
Okay.
I think that's like the red thread in my life. Apart from that, I'm very much a mother. I have 2 daughters. I'm Viennese. That is also something that I prescribe to. So I'm from Austria, but I consider myself Viennese, which is very special.
Nice, very nice.
Different story. And I'm, from my profession, I'm a photographer. That's also how we connected. And a movement teacher, mainly, in all kinds of forms. So telling stories, whether it's through images or writing, I also write poetry. Images, writing, or movement is that's kind of the thing. And it took me a really long time to kind of see that, to kind of realize that is who I am, or how I can express myself in my lifetime as who I am. So yeah.
It's funny. It's the word that popped up when listening to you. Is all about expression, right? So you also help others to express.
Yes, yes, that's yeah. Wow, I haven't even looked at it this way. Definitely, it's. I think that's
You
one
can
of
put it on your
my.
website. It's
I can
okay.
put it in my. Okay, put it in tagline. No, absolutely. I think I also consider myself a little bit of a cheerleader. Like when I have the feeling that other people they have troubles starting something, or they think they're not good enough, or not professional enough, or not ready enough. I'm like a little bit of like, just try it. What happens? Like, just like, and I guess that is because I didn't have that. I didn't have I didn't have the cheerleader team for a long time. Now I have it, but it took a really long time and a lot of moves across the continent to get to a place where I feel like, yeah, I have that kind of team around me, and that's why I'm so happy to when I can be there for others, and to support them on their journey. Yeah.
It's interesting because I've had conversation with people on the bench, and some call it their support network, and then you call it a cheerleader team.
Yes.
Nice how people use different phrases to, explain. So what is it? How does a cheerleader team look like? What do they do?
What do they do?
They cheer you up.
They cheer you up, yes, but they also know when to be strict with you. So I think it's not only cheering. It's not like yay, everything is you're doing is great,
Pom-poms.
right? They're they know when to also be like timeouts. Can we just speak on the sidelines? That's
Nice.
it. So being real. I think being real with you. When you have the feeling that people are real with you, that they're not just saying nice things because they want to be the nice person in your life, but because they really want you to do well, to make good choices in your life, and they leave room for
They don't judge.
exactly. Yes. Ooh, yeah, and
Nice.
I mean, I haven't listened to so many episodes from your podcast before. I do know some of the people we had on a podcast before, and I'm sure that family is one thing that comes up in conversations, especially for people who move countries or move cities. But I think what I consider my support or my cheerleader is really has grown beyond my my family of origin. And that realness is really something that I have only found once I started to also gravitate towards or lean on to people who are outside of this given constructed family. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it's what triggered me as well. What you just said was that you moved around I don't know, on this continent or across continents. I don't know.
No,
you
just
can
this one.
oh, just
Yeah,
this one.
Very European.
Yeah, good. So I mean, hence this podcast being the good place. This whole place had also a impact on that cheerleading team. Where have you been, and what then brought you to The Hague that you found what you found?
So I think so. Even from my early youth, I was quite the nomad. that was due to circumstances in my family. Like my parents split up when I was 7. So moving between houses was kind of the thing. And then in my teenage years, we moved already quite a bit, not too much, but still. And and then university years, I just moved around a lot. Did Erasmus, went to Germany for 6 months to do an internship. So I've been like places, and I was always packing up just a little bit of stuff and going to the next place. But
You've been moving a lot.
yeah. I think if I count all the moves together, it comes up to like at least 15 or let's say 15. I'm not sure 20, but definitely 15 addresses that I had in my life. I don't know, maybe these days it's like that's nothing, but I was born in the 80s, so people my age are usually like, oh, I grew up here,
Yeah.
So how did I get here? Was that the question?
So that whole journey, and then at one point you landed here.
Right. Yeah. So even though I was like zigzagging around a lot, my center of gravity was still very much Vienna. That's why I also consider myself like really deep down somewhere still Viennese. And I always will be. So proud of that. But 7.5 years ago, my partner's or my husband's job took us here. So the 4 of us, so my 2 daughters and us parents, and that's how I landed in The Hague. And that was just by chance. Nobody really chose us like, we want to go to The Hague, but as you know, this city is a place where people kind of come
relocate to.
Yes.
And we'll start working here.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I remember when he told me, and I had to look it up on the map, and I was like, oh, that's at the sea. Okay, that's fine. I can do with that. So that's how we landed here. That's how I landed here.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. So you already had kids.
Yes. So our children are now 11 and 13. So they spent most of their life here, but they were born in Vienna.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. And will you ever go back to Vienna?
You mean to live?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
As a Viennese?
Right.
Sounds luxurious, Viennese.
Yeah.
Sounds different than Hagenaar of an Hagenees.
I think there are some things that are not that different, actually. And then there are a lot of things that are quite different. Right now, where I am in my life, I don't want to move back. Like when I go back there, I feel most of the times like a tourist. And that's probably also because there is no place that I call home in Vienna, in the city of Vienna.
Okay.
Why is that? Well, because like I said before, my parents divorced a long time ago, and neither of their apartments feels like the place where I would go home to, both from size or also just just a feeling of of the soil
where you grew up.
So in German we call a home, so there's one word for home, it's called Heimat.
Yeah.
Right. I still don't know if there's an equivalent in the English language. It's like where your roots are. And my roots are in Austria, but they're not in Vienna. They're actually in the place where my grandmother lived until very recently.
Okay.
But that's in the countryside.
Okay.
So will I go back to Vienna? Maybe someday. But it will probably feel like completely rediscovering that old life, or that part is it seems so far away.
Well, and it seems that you created a nice life for yourself here in The Hague.
Definitely, yes.
Right?
Yes.
So
yeah,
you're in a good place.
No, seriously, I am. And I guess the description or the ingredients of what makes a place good are different for everyone.
Exactly.
And for me over the years, and maybe especially because I've been such a nomad, whether I wanted that or not, different question.
Yeah.
My good place was always with good people. So for me, feeling home, feeling in a good place, most of the time has to do with the people that are there. So when we moved here 7 years ago, for me there was no doubt. Oh, do I want to go back to Vienna? No, it was my family is here, and I felt, in that sense, I felt home right away. But it still took a while to really feel home here. And now it's, like I say, when I go to Vienna, I feel like a tourist there, and then when I come here, I feel like, oh, now I'm home. So that's a very interesting feeling, and I still enjoy it because it still is just like you've not been born into it, and maybe then you're more aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever have that? Because you've been living out of the Netherlands also for quite some time of your life.
Yeah. I mean, it's I call still Munich or Germany like the Heimat.
Yeah.
Well, because I know I grew
Right.
up there,
Yeah.
and even that I don't have quite a link, or my family doesn't live there any longer, but it does feel like
Mm-hmm.
even with knipoog, Heimat.
Yeah.
But what made me think is probably your daughters might say this is their Heimat in some ways.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't.
You should ask them.
Yes. Sometimes I think, oh, I should ask them, but it's sometimes it's too big of a question. But it comes out. So, for example, they both are really eager to go to Austria for Christmas holidays, for
Yeah,
example.
okay.
So they always want to spend Christmas. Yeah.
It's
at
also
home.
more fun. Over
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Yes,
Probably
it is.
that's the reason.
It definitely
Yeah.
is.
Christmas is more fun in Germany as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Traditions.
Yes. But yeah, without having had that conversation with them, really, like from my sense, they feel like home is where we are. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's also a little bit like sign of the times, and so our children, they go here to the European school, so all of their friends in school are from at least, mixed families in terms
Yeah.
of where do people come from, or where were they born, where are they living now, all different kind of languages. So I think that whole conversation around what is home, what identity is a huge one for that generation. But then it's like maybe in the microcosm of my kids' world even more.
I grew up European school.
Ah, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
In
Munich, yes.
European school in Munich.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was surrounded by different nationalities and
Yeah?
so on. Yeah, most of them, I would say 50% after their graduation really went back to their country, although they probably haven't lived there. And the other 50% stayed in Munich and continued their lives there.
Yeah.
That's really fun to see. Some of them, even after all those years being abroad, eventually moved back. Probably because it's something that they started to appreciate more, or that's the thing, is that I mean, there are many people, and that has nothing to do with European school, but yeah, they love the adventure, they go abroad, and then after a while, then they think, okay, I want to return to where I grew up.
Yeah.
But I don't have that, because there's nothing, my family is not there,
Yeah.
so probably I'm staying here.
It's a good place to be.
Absolutely.
Also this bench.
Huh? Yeah, absolutely, for sure. I also had to think of your nomading experience, which is then also sometimes feels like that search, like, of course, self-discovery, but also you meet so many different people, and then you start to know more of what you really appreciate in people until you find them, and you're like, okay, hold tight. We're not gonna go anywhere.
Mm.
You know? Yeah. I wonder if I'm to that path that I'm walking, if I already found it, or that I still need to, you know, find, you know, people in a particular place that will make me stay. I'm not in The Hague. I haven't found them yet. I mean, I've met a lot of people, but not my cheerleading team.
Oh, well, how long have you been living in The Hague?
3.5 years.
3.5 years. Okay, give it time. I've been here for 7.5 years, and that also includes 2, 3 very weird COVID years. So I think so before when COVID hit, we had been here for just about 3 years, 3 and a little bit, and I have not felt like I had found my people. Then so I think it takes time. And there's probably cultures that are more, let's say, open, welcoming, reaching out and pulling people in. Then, Austrians are not different in that, I think, as Dutch. But like when I maybe compared with Spanish culture or Portuguese, where people are just, doors are open, you walk in, you make friends. So I think it just takes time also. Wanting to stay. So I think the question, you will probably only know the answer if you have found your people when something changes again. You're like, what was that? You know, because
or leaving it and then
yes,
realizing
exactly. Yes.
what you had.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. So that's a little bit where I am in right now, right? Robin said, okay, what do you want to talk about? I was like, I could talk about a lot of stuff, but transition is definitely one of the main themes right now.
A good place in transition.
A good place in transition. Oh, that's even meta level now. Okay.
Or is it?
Let's say transitioning
towards.
Yes. Maybe from a good place to an even better place.
Nice.
Yeah.
Without change the title of the podcast.
Without giving it I'm not. There's no scale here. Like, where are you on a 1 to 10? Maybe it's just a different tint or different taste of good, like the goodness in one area of life, and then finding the goodness also in a different area of life. And
I think all parts that make it a good place are always moving.
Yes, yeah. So that's the thing, you can't hold on to them. As soon as now we're in a good place, something else will change. And I think maybe because I've been such a nomad for so many years, I'm probably somebody who can adjust quite quickly. Don't know if that's always such a good thing.
Yeah.
But
what do you mean by that?
Well, it also makes you maybe a little bit restless or impatient, because if something is not working out right away, it's like, okay, right, we're going to try the next thing, because we know we can adapt to the next thing. There's other people who are super scared of change. I'm not. I'm like, I'm going to change things. I'm not going to wait. I'm going to change.
You roll up your sleeves and do it.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, usually, very much so.
Okay. You're
See,
the one that
I roll up my sleeves.
You're the one that takes action. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. You want to share a bit more about that transition?
Yeah.
That's the elephant.
That's
the elephant on a bench.
The elephant. Where is it? Hold it. Is the baby elephant between us? No. Yeah. So, well, I guess, the biggest transition, like really tangible one, is where the transition in where I live, like really physically, where my things are, where my bed is, where I sleep at night, where my family is. So until not so long ago, I lived on that side, not so far away, just a couple of blocks. And next week I will live on this side.
Next week?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And in between, because we're talking about transition, I'm living over there.
On
so
the bench.
no, I don't live on a bench. It's not that bad.
Okay, okay,
I'm
good.
still very much in a good place.
Okay, good, good, good.
No, yeah. So, yeah.
And
So,
sorry for
no,
because making
go
it
ahead.
less cryptic. Is that
Less cryptic.
that means that you're gonna move away from your family, or your family is moving with you? Are you?
I I recently separated from my husband, who's now no longer my husband. I still find it really awkward to call him anything else than my husband.
Yeah.
And I really don't like ex-husband. Like, that's not a good transition.
Okay.
No. So that's still a working title there. But yeah, we separated, and that's been a process. And so he will continue to live in the house that we bought together, and which is there. And I'm gonna live over there for the time being until I find something bigger, and our children will have 2 homes.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay.
So that's a huge transition, and I mean,
imagine.
on so many levels. But I think now that it's becoming like real in the sense of, again, where do I sleep? Where's my address? Where am I registered?
Yeah. Yeah, that is really the practical, the physical side of life.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be honest. Like, I don't know like how to respond. Like, do I have to say I'm sorry to hear that, or is it for the better? As in, it's a positive transition? It's always a bit of a difficult balance to find, huh? But it's especially for people outside, because you guys are not the only ones that are in those kind of transitions in life. But maybe for you it's positive.
So
Because you said you're moving from a good place to a better place.
Yeah, definitely. Yes, yeah. That also is true for this transition very much.
I always put a question mark behind the things I'm saying. That's
Yeah.
instigating anything.
Yes. Well, there's been, whether it's friends or acquaintances or people who who are meeting for the first time, when I tell them that I've been recently divorced, like condolences, congratulations. They don't know what to say. They want to say something. I think it's like we want to connect. No, we want to I think showing any reaction just shows that you are meeting the other person in their in their humanness, in whatever. Empathy, and I don't even give it like, is it this or this. It is what it is, and for me it really feels that I'm coming from a really good place, and if he ever listens to this, I also hope or feel that Hannes, father of my children, will know and confirm that we're both coming from a good place, and I really hope that for all of us it will be an even better place. But it's a huge transition. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing this.
Yeah, it feels quite vulnerable because I've not
on the record.
I mean, my family knows, my closest friends know, my work colleagues know, so it's not that it's a secret, but of course to talk about it openly on a public bench on a podcast is something, and I also I don't need it for myself to talk about it in public, but I think also every person that talks about it makes it a little bit less difficult for whoever is in a similar situation, and again, just wants to have the feeling that they're not alone in whatever they're going through.
Yeah.
So coming back to the storytelling, right? Like
Yeah.
why do we tell stories? It's because it's not because our story is so unique. It's actually the opposite. It's quite universal, and there's like, oh, there's other people going through this too, and then your load just gets lighter. You're like, oh, it's tough, it's hard, but it can also be, you can also have a good place in a really tough situation.
She's not giving it back to me. Yeah. I mean, it of course is rhetoric, but
Yeah.
yeah, of course, I do think that every situation is unique. Only the topic, what it's about, it's quite generic because yeah, people do get together, people do get separated. I don't know. Sometimes I feel people get more separated than ever before. But yeah, that's also what life is at the moment, and we all have our ambitions, our dreams, and yeah, I think relationships in that is always is both beautiful but as also challenging at the same time. I mean, like same like for my situation as well. I mean, yeah, you have two kids, and yeah, that also brings a different dynamic to your relationship or perspective and so on. And yeah, some people think you can always share the rest of your lives. Well, maybe not. Maybe yes. Who knows? Nobody has um, the lifetime wisdom.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Working
AI,
on it.
AI. You can
Aw.
type it into AI, but still. No, I mean, thing to say is that I love this quote about you have to be available for life. I once
Ooh,
read it.
Yes.
Somebody had it written in their Instagram profile of all places, and they said you have to be available for life, and then that made me realize things. As in, sure, I've encountered stuff in my life that were not in my control, or just these things happen, and we got to be available for it. I'm not saying that you should not, that it's doesn't have an influence on you. It absolutely does, and it will impact you, and you'll be sad and so on, both the joy and the negative ones. But yeah, sometimes life hits you when it's most unexpected. So I was saying about my mom being in hospital all of a sudden. Luckily she came out well and recovering. But yeah, those things happen, and you gotta be available at that moment. You cannot just hide under a stone or behind a bench and then wait until things are over.
Yeah.
You gotta deal with it.
Yes.
So, in retrospect to your situation, I love it when people are vulnerable because that's something that also makes us connect more, and probably with the listener and the viewer as well. Yeah, and maybe they see it as an example of them sharing it again with somebody else. Suddenly everybody has a story to share.
Yeah, and I mean the truth is everybody has a story to share. I
Absolutely.
had some of the most amazing conversations with people you would not think. Like I remember a couple of months ago, like a guy coming to repair the washing machine, and we had like the most philosophical conversation.
About your washing machine.
Well, it was through a metaphor of the washing machine, and I think it was about, I don't know, it was something. It was about smear olie. He was talking about smear olie, or he actually said, "Do you speak Dutch or German with the washing machine?" I said, and then he said, "But look at everything that's here. It's in Dutch. So you have to speak Dutch to it. You cannot speak in German." I said, "Oh, okay." So anyway,
That's
it
why it
triggered.
broke down.
It triggered. Yeah, exactly. That was his explanation. But it triggered a whole conversation. I'm like, and I was available.
Yeah.
I know that if somebody else had opened that door that day, that conversation would not have taken place.
Yeah.
But so I think I love that, being available. And I do consider myself, well, not saying that's always the case, but when I'm aware, when I'm online, like, I'm here, I'm present, I'm very much available to life. And my children will say that's very true. Like, my children say, like, I will stop somewhere and have a conversation with sometimes strangers, but also friends. My mom is like that too, so I think I have that from her, which is very curious. But yeah, in that sense, available to life, and but also in moments like when when something really bad happens,
Yeah.
a parent being hospitalized, or something rupturing things in the family, to appreciate the goodness, or also the beauty of it, because it's part of the package. Like, you don't magically arrive at the good place. No.
No.
No. It's an ongoing process, and also when you're there, it's not giving that it stays that way. So things are changing, and then I think maybe our definition of what is a good place gets, or we can aim that gets more refined over the years. It's not so much, at least I'm speaking for myself, it's not so much attached to status, to what kind of, I don't even have a car, but what kind of car do I drive, or which zip code, or like where do I buy my clothes, but about like real like human
Connection.
richness and joy. And even just, we're now waiting if the sun is gonna stay here or if it's gonna hit our face. And I think even if it's gonna hit our face, we're gonna enjoy it so much, because my legs are warm already. It's super nice, and it's like I couldn't ask for more. This is a good place. We should just camp out here.
Sure. End the episode. No, I think how you describe it, and I think that is correct as well. As part of the podcast series, we also have a program around assisting people in finding that good place.
Mm-hmm.
I had a conversation with them as well the other day, and everybody has their own little thingy that he or she wants to work on, and others might have already covered that for themselves. Whether it's work, whether it's relationships, whether it's private life, whether it's your personal ambition or drives. So I like the fact that there is not one good place. But I think learning from each other and connecting over it, and being maybe not too stuck in your head all the time about it, is the way forward. I think that's also one of the reasons I started this podcast. Talk with people about transitions in life. Not for the worse, but for the better.
Yes.
So thanks again, Eva, for that. We are transitioning also towards the end of this episode. Because otherwise you'll be talking here for hours. I don't do this every episode, but I do like to end with something that you feel like want to share. I mean, you've shared a lot already, but a final piece of wisdom or inspiration, or that you feel others should take home with.
Ooh, now I feel put on the spot.
You didn't feel like that all the time?
Nope, not until now. Yes, I'm gonna. One thing, maybe because this is
Share a
all we're also
story.
talking. No, I'm not. No, story will take too long. Just
Once
one
upon a
piece.
time.
No, just one piece, because we're talking about transition, and then transition can feel like something we have to rush through. And I've been there many times in my life where it's like, oh, just let's get to the other side of this, even if it was something pleasant. But something that I'm really practicing these days is to be here. So if that's the one thing that might help someone else figure out where the good place is or could be, start with being where you are and being there fully, like you said, available to life. That's, yeah, I think that's
I'm going to say thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this beautiful episode. We're going to enjoy the sundowner and be present for the next minutes about the beautiful bench, the red bench, and the sun hitting us. Have a nice day.
Bye.
Talk to you soon. Bye.